Everybody knew Chief Broockerd and Overland Park Fire Department.
He had a knack about him for the fire service.
Never ever was there a dull moment.
He had almost a John Wayne charisma.
That's exactly right. He truly had command presence on the fire ground.
He was tough as hell.
He was a working fire chief.
He demonstrated it every day.
And that's Jim Broockerd.
I'll tell you how I got involved in the fire department. In 1950, we moved to Overland Park, and I couldn't get a telephone. And I found out that if I got on the fire department, that would allow me to get a telephone. So I went up and put an application in. It was all volunteer then, and had 20 members was the regular fire department. Then they had some auxiliaries, and they had a vacancy come in, and they voted me on the fire department. So then I called the telephone company and I got a telephone, and that's how I got on. Well, when I got on, I really liked it. You know, it just got in my blood. I just liked it. In other words, I knew I was helping people out and stuff like that. And in '53, the chief and assistant chief appointed me a captain. Well, then in 1956, the volunteers voted me as chief. They voted me in every year that I was there. And so I was a volunteer chief until December '61. Then I went on full time, and I had a good relationship with all the men. In other words, I'd play golf with some of them, and I'd go hunting with some of them, and you know, and that's what it takes to be a good chief. You just can't say, well, hell, you're lower than I am, you're nobody, I'm the chief. Well, you can't do that. And get the respect of the men, and I had the respect of the men. I knew that.
The man truly had all the skills that you'd ever hope for. His value system, his work ethic, very compassionate to the job, very personal, human. To put all those different personalities together for the common cause. He had a lot of challenge on his shoulders, but he stood tall, and that's what I think we all respected the man so very much for.
Broockerd was one of the best firefighting fire chiefs, fire smoke-eating, firefighting, knew where it was at type people. I liked the way that he could be the fire chief, the best fire chief in the county. I mean, that's the way he was viewed, and then turned around and walk into the kitchen table with 9, personnel and fit right in.
Just to hear him speak as a chief, you can tell he knew what he was talking about. I believe he learned by touching something, taking it apart, and seeing how it worked. And that's the way he wanted you. He wanted to pick you apart and see if you could do the same thing. Because he learned that way, and he knew that a lot of guys that were like him learned that way, and he believed in teaching that way. And that's why he was to the point. There it is, you can see it, believe in it, and you learn. I learned that way just by touching it, feeling it, seeing what it does. It means a lot.
As far as a firefighting chief, I don't think you could have got a better man to lead the department in its inception and to bring it full circle to where it is today. His ability to recognize the fire travel, that's where he excelled. He could look at a house fire and say, this fire's in the back bedroom, your access is here, or it was in the basement, not showing in the attic, it's in the pipe chases. His ability to actually know the progression of the fire, I think, and he got that from the many, many fires that he attended, because he went to everything. He made every EMS call, he made every fire call. I don't think the guy took vacation for 20 years just because he was there at the fires.
Well, I mean, he didn't treat anyone differently, whether they'd been here 10 years, 15 years, or 2 months. I mean, it was just fair in everything he did. It truly was. He had a knack about him for the fire service. He knew firefighting, and he saved our butts more than once in there. He had a way of telling that things were going bad and it's time to get out. And he cared deeply about his people. They were the main thing he cared about, was his people.
I don't know how he instilled the firefighting attitude, that the go-getter firefighter type attitude, but you know, we were called to many, many different cities. And as we arrive, I mean, people are actually cheering because Overland Park had the reputation and they're going to put the fire out. So, I mean, that's the kind of respect and firefighting abilities that he instilled in the people that work for him.
I think through your life, you meet a lot of different people, and a lot of different people have influences on your careers and on your life and what you do with it. And other than my mom and dad, I think Chief Broockerd probably had more influence on me personally. He was a working fire chief. He truly was the working fire chief, and he would never ask you to do anything that he wouldn't do himself. Never.
He was just real straightforward, you know, blunt at times, might be rough around the edges, but you knew what he wanted. He just was a leader, you know, and always gave you something to strive for, I guess a benchmark, you know, to try and become like that. And it's very rare to have leadership skills and qualities that he had. He's just a natural leader. He just cared about the job, he cared about you. And, you know, to me, the mess the country's in right now, I think if we had men that were leaders like that in whatever field, it wouldn't be in the mess it is.
We knew that Chief Broockerd would be there real quick, always. He was there. Night, day, doesn't matter. He was going to be there early on in that fire.
Today we ride in the left lane. That's the law, keeping the left lane so traffic can move to the right. Back then, we used the right lane because the chief was coming by on the left.
I believe it was Glenn Meeker was the driver of 0421 pumper that used to run pretty good, and he come in there and says, "By God, you guys, you need to slow down a little bit. You were going 82 miles an hour when I passed you on Antioch going to that call."
You know, it was, here he comes.
He was in charge, and he was very clear about that. And he would be very vocal and yet direct, but very compassionate, always that way. And he had colorful language, borderline profanity, and but everybody got accustomed to that, and that was part of the territory.
And it was Broockerd. It's, you know, all right, horse kicked you off, get back on, let's go. That's the way it was, you know. His guys were everything.
He didn't believe in backing down from situations. He always had a plan. It was not uncommon to see him on his knees in the door with smoke pouring out of it, hollering at us to tell us which way to go and which way not to go and what we had and what was going on.
And it was like, you knew right there that fire's going out. I don't care what was involved. 400 on scene, that fire went out.
My motto was, we never started that fire. All we can do is try to put it out. And they knew when I was there that I was a firefighting son of a bitch. Boy.